Here is a video about learning the new language of your body. And it's based on a conversation I had this past Saturday. And today's only Thursday. I had a free public overeating workshop held in the local library in Santa Clara. And an interesting character and his wife joined the workshop. And I want to tell you their story today. And it's an interesting story because this guy comes from India and he claims he only overeats, but not for emotional reasons. So he does overeat, but not for emotional reasons. Now, I've never seen anything like this before. Usually when you're overeating, it is definitively for emotional reasons. There's definitely stressors involved. There's emotional coping where food is used to cope with emotions. This guy was very interesting. His wife swore that he was happy, he was not eating because he was stressed, and even right now as I make this video, I'm betting there's some stress going on. But based off one conversation, and he has me convinced enough to the point where I'm making this video. Really grounded guy, and saying he has a problem with overeating, but not for emotional reasons. He says that he can't feel his body. He says that he cannot hear his body. And before his son started working at Google, he didn't need to worry about his weight. But every 6 months out of the year, he and his wife, they visit his son in the Bay Area. And he's in the last 4 years, he's gained a lot of weight because half the year he's spending in America. Now back at home, he doesn't have to worry about food. There's not enough food around for him to worry about weight. He just doesn't have enough to eat. So weight's not a problem. But he's steadily gaining weight and he's not losing it. And it's troubling him. It seems like when he comes to America, there's all this food around and his eating habits are changing for the negative. And he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to feel his body, and he keeps overeating and he doesn't know how to stop. So I started talking to him, and I had this, and the reason I'm making this video is because we really had a good connection. His wife did not speak English, but me and him, despite the language barrier, despite the fact that I'm Caucasian, I grew up here, he grew up in India, way different circumstances, the fact that India is a second language, English is a second language, and we're communicating about really hard concepts. Like overeating is a hard concept to talk about with someone from a different culture. It's hard. So in the library, we were making hand gestures, and I was pointing to my belly and expanding it and then looking guilty to say that I was too full. I was rubbing my belly and moaning when I was hungry. This guy's English was good, but it wasn't to the point where we could easily talk about some of these concepts that I love talking about. His wife didn't speak English either, so he was a translator for her. And we were all making gestures and talking, and I remember being so surprised. You don't eat because you're stressed? He said, no. You don't eat because you're sad? No. I said, why do you overeat? I don't know when to stop. So I'm sure if we built more of a rapport, we built more of a trust, he might have opened up about some stress. Okay, everyone has stress. But in this moment, we just were able to really deeply connect about eating as a skill similar to learning a different language. So I had this insight because we were all gesturing and stuff. And I started talking to him like, how did you learn English? And he said, well, I had to study Rosetta. I forget what program he said, Rosetta Stone. He had to study some language learning software. Studied it, they gave him exercises, and he started practicing. And every time he would come visit his son, he'd be able to expand more of his knowledge. He'd be able to hear what people were saying and he'd be able to respond. And so using this analogy, I was able to say, so what's the difference between learning a new language and learning your body's language? and he would kind of didn't really know. He didn't really know that he could learn his body's language. He was not aware that his body was talking to him, that his body was like yapping away at him. Stop eating, eat, stop eating, eat. He was not aware of the language of the body. Just like when I go to India and people say words at me and I see them saying different words, I will not understand what they mean. I will not be able to take meaningful action if someone is speaking to me in Indian. It doesn't make any sense to me. If I were just walking in the streets of India and someone started talking to me, I would not know how to reply meaningfully. I would just keep walking, or I don't even know what I'd do. But the point is that this guy, his body was a foreign language. So his body is making signals at him and noises, but he does not know how to take meaningful action based off of the language of his body. And the language of his body is growls and sensations and hunger and fullness and emotional satisfaction and all these different emotions and feelings and so forth. So what we started developing was a rudimentary communication framework where growls were imagine if someone said hello, or I don't know, in Espanol, in Spanish, the word hola means hello. So when you're trained, when you get some training, hola means hello. You can then understand it. So we gave him communication framework. When your belly growls, it means time to eat. This is very basic. We just had one meeting. When your belly growls, it's time to eat. When your belly feels stretched, I widened my arms. When your belly feels stretched, it's time to stop eating. And so we were able to give him this rudimentary framework that he was going to be able to practice with. And it just really brought a lot of joy to my heart. So I wanted to share that little story with you guys. Thanks for watching. That's all I have for you right now. But what do you think? How are you going to learn your body's language? How is your body communicating with you? All right. Thanks for your time. Peace.